Well, it's 2022. Boy, is it ever 2022. Which means it's been 10 years since Kony 2012, and nearly 10 years since my own viral video. And the question on everyone's lips, the one question I get more than any other, is will you ever make a video about Kony 2012? I'm kidding, of course, that's only the second most asked question. The real question I get the most is, can we get a 30th anniversary?
30 years, who would have thought it?
And though I technically have the rest of the year to decide, the answer to both questions is probably not. However, since it has been 10 years, now would be the perfect time to tell the full story about why I made the video and why it doesn't need to be made again.
Things come back to haunt you just when you least expect it.
And before anyone can say, "Are you milking this again?" Yes, I am. For the second time in nearly a decade, I'm talking about this video. And if you clicked on this video knowing what it was about just to complain and signal to the algorithm that this is content you will engage with, I have one thing to say.
You are all weirdos!
But seriously, I sympathize. I'm not thrilled about the situation either. I'm making this video precisely so I can move on to other things, and if anyone asks about a 30th anniversary, I can direct them here. I'd love to be talking about this video, or this one. But no, I'm talking about the one which, through no fault of my own, continues to charm and delight new viewers. You know, you have permission to watch the less popular videos. You don't have to watch whatever the algorithm puts in front of. So with no further ado, let's cast our minds back to the year I started making YouTube videos. Alright, that's enough of that. Look, when I first became a YouTuber, I knew I had an ace in the hole. I knew this tape I made when I was 12 would be something. I'm about to do something which I believe is unprecedented in this medium. I didn't know what exactly, but I was patient. This would be a process.
Definitely.
I'd been making videos talking to myself since I was 10.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Inspired by Bob Saget.
Hi, and welcome to the show.
Rest in peace. By the time I was 12, I noticed I was already looking much older, which gave me the idea.
I think I'd like to talk to myself in the future.
Judging from the tape, I didn't have much to say to myself.
Well, I guess that's all I want to ask you.
The video runs about 7 minutes, and only a tiny portion of it is me talking to my future. The rest of it is me talking to my then current self, and
Hey, Jeremiah! Yeah! No, get down.
there was no way I was showing the public that.
Sorry.
So, still not knowing quite what I had, I decided to just go ahead and make it. Rip off the Band-Aid.
Hi, Jeremiah.
Hello, Jeremiah.
You look different.
Do I?
Yes, I'm 12 years old. How are you? How old are you?
26.
Ah. So, how are things, you know?
It was very casual. So casual I made it while I was at work. I was just eager to see how the public would react to a stunt like this, and nobody thought the kid was me. They didn't even know they were supposed to think it was me.
Very interesting.
Don't get me wrong, I kind of like this version of it. I like how uncomfortable it is.
I like it. You know
I know.
that.
It mostly just follows the rhythms of the original tape without a lot of editing, except for this one bit that I left out.
That rabbit that you used to draw?
Here we go.
Look at that.
Roy was a character I drew between the ages of 10 and 13, and on some occasions I even attempted to animate, but there was no point in including him. Nobody would know who Roy was.
Okay, that's enough.
In the end, I had a video with no real shape to it. No story, no jokes.
Well, thank you.
But it didn't matter. Someday, I would do the real version. In 2012, I really was as burnt out as I seemed. I just spent the last 3 years working as a contract player at an international theater in France.
Ah, the French.
It was something I lucked into just from being on YouTube, and it spoiled me for life. For 3 years, I was paid to make art. But it left me mentally and physically exhausted, and I learned how to drink. When my contract was over, the future was a big question mark. I had to go back to my old job, which I hated, and it didn't take long for my time in France to feel like something I had dreamt. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I only knew what I didn't want to do, which was to be a YouTuber. Felt like that time had passed. There was, however, one thing that could draw me back.
It's obvious that Kony should be stopped. The problem is 99% of the planet doesn't know who he is. If they knew, Kony would have been stopped long ago.
For a few days in March 2012, the world seemingly lost its collective mind, thinking they could take down a Ugandan war criminal by hanging lots of posters as if he were a fucking cat. I was inspired to take all the filmmaking tricks of Kony 2012 to make a satirical video using my parents' cat, and best of all, I didn't have to show my face. I was gonna show the world it was all bullshit, yeah, me, and give the director Jason Russell something to think about. But in just a few short weeks, the world figured that out on its own. In fact, the backlash came so swift, so severe, Jason Russell suffered a very humiliating public breakdown. Kind of made my video pointless. So I shelved it. No one would ever see my brilliant takedown. And yeah, there was probably some pettiness on my part. Kony 2012 was the most viral video of all time, and I wanted to go viral. Oh well, I was just avoiding the inevitable. It was 2012. Time to do the 20th anniversary. This was the time, so I kind of forced myself to do it. Maybe the fact that I was burnt out and didn't really want to be on camera would be an advantage. It would mean there was friction between me and my younger self. If I'd made the video just a year earlier, it would have been about how my life was going fine, and that would have been boring. Something was missing from my life, and that's where the story would come from. And this wasn't even about the video anymore. This was about what I was going to do with my life, and it had been staring me in the face this whole time. I wanted to start drawing again. That was it. That was the driving force of the whole project. I set up a blog where I would take requests from people, hoping it would light a fire under my ass and put me to work. I was hoping I would get just enough to keep me busy, and if I was lucky, some of them would turn into commissions. And I was going to launch the project using the video.
So I wanted to be an animator.
But this time, I was going to nail it. I was going to do it right. I wrote down everything my 12-year-old self said in the video and used that to make a script. And when I say make a script, I mean I shot a test video.
Oh, I'm sorry, is there more of this?
Just to make sure all the lines cut together. Nothing would go to waste, even that stuff that embarrassed me, especially those parts. And this time, I would include Roy. Roy was the thing tying it all together. It didn't matter if nobody knew who he was, everyone has their own Roy they can project onto Roy. Roy was my rosebud. And that was it. It had story, it had jokes.
Excuse me.
Oh, charming. No wonder I'm single.
And the part I'm proudest of.
By the way, do you still like Doctor Who?
No.
Alright.
And it's never coming back, so don't get your hopes up. Don't blink. Blink and you're dead.
What do you mean? What?
No, I'm kidding. It's not. That's going to be hilarious in 15 years. I just turned this off, right?
What? That!
The video was finished. So, keeping my expectations low, I put it onto YouTube and
It's gone viral on the internet. A conversation between a young filmmaker and himself at age 12.
The result is a YouTube sensation. Over 4 million views in just 3 days.
holy shit. Okay, let's back up. I thought I knew what it was like to go viral. I didn't know shit. 4.5 years earlier, I was featured on YouTube's front page. YouTube is my life, Church or Blow channel. Which means I got lots of comments. Getting featured by YouTube was having the worst people on the internet pick at all your insecurities. The main insecurity being that I suck.
There's too much positivity on this site.
But that's okay. I was ready for it. The whole video was making fun of those people.
You suck at making movies.
Robbing them of the two most important words in their arsenal.
You really need a girlfriend.
Okay, back to 2012. This time around, I told myself, ignore the comments. Just ignore them. But a lot of the comments were positive. There were also comments from everyone I've known throughout my entire life. People I hadn't spoken to in 20 years who recognized me as a child. There were also comments from Roger Ebert, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was promoting a film where he meets his future self, the actual showrunner of Doctor Who, not to mention the writer of Blink.
Don't blink.
And, okay, but in 2012, this was, hold on, what's this? I gotta do interviews? Wait, I haven't done laundry. What am I supposed to wear?
Jeremiah, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you laugh when you see that? I mean...
3 days ago, I was scared to put my face on YouTube. Now I'm going live on America's second biggest morning talk show. Well, at least it was second.
I don't know if it's entertaining for the same reasons.
Are you doing one for 20 years from now? When you're a filmmaker, this is what you do.
Yes, I might have to.
All right, Jeremiah, you're doing fine. Now you just have to answer the $1 million question.
And what's the next big project we can look forward to?
Right now, I have over 2,000 requests for drawings on Tumblr.
Oh, so you're also
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah. About that.
He's already gotten thousands of requests for drawings on his website.
I got requests. too many requests. I couldn't go through them all. My video had touched so many people and they were opening up to me, baring their souls, asking me to draw their dead cat or their dead relative. It was just a parade of sadness. I didn't last a day reading them. And the interviews kept coming. First it was national.
And has your love life changed?
Not yet.
I have a feeling, Jeremiah, that will probably soon happen for you.
And when the local news found out I was a Mainer, they came after me as well.
He hasn't stopped giving interviews since last Thursday.
By the end of it, I was like a pro.
Obviously, I want people to believe it's really me, but at the same time, I wanted the conversation to be so fluid.
I had to keep calling into work and saying I have another interview, and they said, "Are you sure you want to keep coming into work?" And I said, I guess not. Internet fame is like an exhilarating drug, except when it's over, you can't just buy another hit. It was exciting while it lasted, but it didn't fix my burnout.
Hello, I'm Jeremiah.
The burnout I was already experiencing only got worse. It made me less certain of what I wanted to do.
Got about 8 million views.
Should I still do the drawing thing or be a YouTuber now?
It's time.
I tried to keep going, but it was getting harder.
But then we all know what happened.
My camera broke, so I used whatever I could. But there was something else on the horizon that would make it harder to hold on to whatever audience I had. Algorithms.
You fools, you're in danger! They're here already!
YouTube was changing, and I could see the writing on the wall. In early 2014, I quit YouTube, and for a long time, I thought that's where the story ended. But on the day my video went viral, something else happened I didn't know about.
And has your love life changed?
My future wife learned who I was.
In a way, announcing that I was single was the smartest move I made in the entire thing.
In 2015, we started dating. In 2016, we got married. It was the best decision I ever made, even though it almost killed me. Around that time, something else happened I didn't see coming. The algorithms, which had killed off my channel, decided to bring it back.
Things come back to haunt you just when you least expect it.
And started blowing up all over again. Just the one video, though. Last year, it was posted to TikTok by some guy and got 10 million views in a matter of days before I had it taken down. Because of this, I made a sequel.
What are you doing?
I need you for content.
What?
There's no time to explain.
Just for TikTok, though. Sorry, YouTube. So, the next obvious step would be a 30th anniversary, right? I know some people think they want that, but believe me, you don't. And I guess this is where I explain why. First of all, if it's not clear by now, I'm still recovering from the experience of the first one. I'm not saying it ruined my life, but for a while it did seem to. But at this point, I could probably use more therapy and less YouTube. Second of all, why fix what isn't broken? I made something I thought was very personal, and it wound up resonating with a lot of people. And when people discover it now, they get just as excited as they did in 2012. But I should update it, right? Updated with what? References to COVID? It would just be the same video, only I'm slightly older. What would be the point of that? Besides, the real update is I'm in a happy, loving relationship. That may be good for my life, but that would make for a very boring video. There'd be no conflict, no story, just variations of the same jokes. But what about my career? I never did get into animation, but I can't just repeat that story beat, and truthfully, that part of the video was always exaggerated. It's not that I wanted to be an animator when I grew up. I wanted to make films, I wanted to make cartoons, I wanted to make Roger Rabbit, basically. But here's the thing. My wife is an animation producer. So now I get to experience all of that through her. And it's great. I'm good on that front, really. But why did I stop drawing? I mean, that's the part of the story that doesn't make sense, right? What's stopping me? I wish I had an answer for that. Well, I have a partial answer. Maybe even the whole answer, I don't know. You see, a year ago, Wait, let me change the music. A year ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD. No, that's too sad. Let's be optimistic. Anyway, I have ADHD. Yeah, me and every other content creator you watch, probably. That's what happens when we all get a whole year with no distractions. We actually learn a thing or two about ourselves. For the first time ever, my life makes partial sense. The constant burnout, procrastination, my sensitivity to criticism. For better or worse, ADHD has defined my YouTube career. I'd like to talk about that in future videos. In fact, I'd like to make that the next subject people are sick of hearing me talk about, now that I'm wrapping up this one. You see, there's only two kinds of videos I can make. The ones I'm really interested in making, and the ones that require so little effort I can churn them out despite a lack of interest. And that brings me to the final reason for not doing a 30th. It's simply not worth it. If I had an artistic reason for doing it, I would be working on it now instead of this. But the only reason to do a 30th would be for content, and that does not interest me. So I never want to hear anyone complaining about me milking it again. This was my chance to milk it, and I'm passing. Having said that, I reserve the right to change my mind if the idea strikes me. On the other hand, maybe everyone complaining has a point. If I'm not going to make content, I should at least try to make art. I should just follow my impulses. To hell with the audience. In fact, that gives me an idea. One that's been staring me in the face this whole time. Okay, look, in the course of making this video, I have changed my mind. Even though I said I wouldn't, I will do it. I'll make my Kony 2012 video.
I can't stop.
I am you. Get down.
And finally, I would like to thank my patrons who've really stuck with me. Ariel, Ben Winfield, Cara Pacifico, Claire D, Dale Atwater, Eric Ives, Liz Wiedekind, Mark, Zaphod2073, and a very special shout out to Max Johnson, Eric Ives, Shayla, Mark Hill, Jeremy F., who have supported me from the very beginning. I started my Patreon pretty much the week Patreon began. I was on it so fast. And so are you. Your support has meant so much to me. Thank you.